very strong fighters, the Japanese. And they'd taken Sumatra and they were held there, and we had a fleet in Trincomalee, Ceylon, the Indian Ocean, and they occupied all Sumatra. And what we were doing in the Indian Ocean was we were bombing all the Japanese strongholds and airfields. And in return, of course, they were coming at us with suicide bombers, you know. And but we got the better of them at the end of the day, you know, and that was pretty horrible, really. Suicide bombers. You know what a suicide bomber is, don't you?
Yeah.
It's an aeroplane flying into you. They put a bomb on it. Yeah.
Did your ship get fire, or?
Oh, we got hit quite a few times, which is a very interesting subject because British aircraft carriers, we had decks that thick, and a lot of them used to hit us and bounce off. The Americans were only that thick. And they used to hit the Americans, they used to sink the American ships very often, you know. So we were lucky to have British workmanship and British built ships to work on, because I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for the quality of the ship, you know. Yeah.
We had one somewhere, I can't find it. One within that photograph next to one.
So I was
taken when it was the 70th.
I was 18 when I joined up,
a couple of years ago, and the BBC did them sort of side by side.
1941, which makes me an old man, doesn't it? Yeah. Anything else you would like to know?
Did your ship catch fire?
Yes, we were hit quite a few times by suicide bombers, but like I said, with having the thick decks, I think the most we ever had killed in one raid was 19, and they were mostly what they call aircraft handlers, you know, the men who handled the aircraft and stowed them up. They got, a lot of them got killed, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So that was when we were in we finished up, we left the Indian Ocean with Ceylon, and we started the British Pacific Fleet. You've heard of Okinawa, have you? You'll have to look that up afterwards, Okinawa. It's a big island next to Japan. And we were getting ready to invade Japan. Did you know that? A lot of people didn't know that. We had big fleets outside off Tokyo and off Sakashima Gonto, where we were bombing. And we were bombing Sakashima Gonto to prevent the airfields on there from attacking the men that we had, the fleet that we had ready for the invasion of Japan. So we already had fleets ready for the invasion of Japan. Well, a lot of people don't know that. So if it had, the atom bomb hadn't dropped, we would have been invading Japan, and God knows how many people would have lost their lives. The atom bomb killed a lot, but at least it was the only thing that would stop the Japanese, because nobody knew what an atom bomb was. You know now, don't you? It's a bomb that was about several hundred times greater than any other bomb that ever had been made. When it was dropped, it was at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. When it was dropped, we couldn't believe it because of the power of it, you know, and the damage it had done. And it was so damaging, it frightened the Japanese to death. And the Japanese had to surrender, didn't they? They had to surrender because the atom bomb was so very, very severe. So thank goodness for the atom bomb, I say, for me. I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for the atom bomb. You know what the atom bomb was, don't you?
Did you have any plane crashes?
like I said, our planes, we had a squadron of fighters and a squadron of bombers. And very often, when they went out on the raid, they would be fired on by anti-aircraft, and when they came back, they would be damaged. And when they came to land, the pilot wouldn't know when they land, the damage, they used to go off again into the sea. So a lot of things like that happen, which are horrible to see. And I don't know, when they land on an aircraft, there were 7 were called arrestor wires. It's like a big steel wire. There's 7 of them, and they're pneumatically operated. And when all the aircraft had a hook on the back, so when they landed, the hook would hook onto the arrestor wire, and then it would hold the plane back, and stop it. And sometimes they would come on too fast, and the hook would come out, and the plane would carry on, and we had some crash barriers further on, and the plane would crash into the crash barriers, which very often killed the pilot. But on the whole, that was the way we had to work, Yeah, there were 7 arrestor wires, of course, and they were all pneumatically controlled. And when they hooked on, they had a kind of a spongy effect on the plane, and it was like made the landing more gentle, That's it. Yeah.
How loud was the guns on the ship?
And what?
How loud was the guns on the ship?
Well, we had 16, would you believe, 4.5-inch guns. And a 4.5-inch gun is a very big gun, isn't it? We had 16 of those, and they were port side, and then we had some pom-poms which were 20mm. So 4.5-inch guns going off terribly loud. In fact, I'm lucky that my hearing is quite good yet, really. But a lot of men, their hearing has been damaged. A lot of ex-servicemen, their hearing was damaged during the war due to all the loud noises they had to do. Of course, they didn't give you earplugs or anything, during the war.
Of course, there were other ships, weren't there, which were firing at the same time, so it must have been.
But all the ships,
really
the whole fleet, you can imagine, like, there was the Indomitable, the Victorious, the Illustrious, battleships, the HMS Hire, and cruisers. But imagine all those firing into the sky at once. And you wouldn't think an airplane would ever get through them, They didn't do. If it hadn't been for that, I don't think I'd have been here, because they had very little chance of getting us, really, because we got good thick decks as well. So thank goodness to British workmanship, I would say, that I'm here today.
During the war, did you come home, and did you want to go back to war?
Did I come home? Well, you didn't get you used to call that leave. You used to get leave, and there used to be, it was up to the captain of wherever you were, whether you could have leave. And some men, if the captain knew you were going away and not coming back, he would let you have a warrant. A warrant was a pass to travel home for 2 or 3 days, and he'd give you this time, and you would have to be back in that time, and you would have a last chance to see your relatives before you went to some hazardous place, like a war, going raiding.
But you didn't get home at all, did you, from there? You were away for 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Ceylon, Trincomalee was like Scapa Flow, and it was a good harbour, and we were operating from there. And Sumatra and all was occupied by the Japanese, and we were going out on raids, attacking, it was Padang, Sabang, Palembang, all that area. or 1944, and then we went into the Pacific, and you've heard of the Okinawa, of course you'll have heard of Okinawa. Anyway, we went into the Pacific, we went to Okinawa. I was at a group of islands called Sakashima Gunto, and there were 3 airfields on there, and our job was to keep these airfields occupied and keep them out of action, because they would be attacking the Americans who were making a landing on Okinawa. And that was our job then. Yeah.
How did you speak to your family back home?
You didn't do. You never got to speak to your family back home. They never knew what was happening to you either, because there was a lot of what did they call it? Price, secret information.
Everything was censored, wasn't it?
Everything was kept secret, because in case the Germans would know. So if you sent a letter home and the Germans got that, they would know where you were, you see. So it was keeping your position secret, so the enemy wouldn't know where to get at you, you know. There's a lot of secretness there. Good reader, isn't he?
Did you make any friends on the ship?
Oh yes, I did, unfortunately. I made a lot of friends on the ship. I lost a lot too, you know. A lot of very good friends, but a lot of them got killed, you know, and that's what makes it sad, you know. Yeah, there used to be some very brave young men on board ship who were only 18-year-old like I was then, you know. And one of my friends, an aircraft had been on a raid and came back. We had what they call crash barriers. We had arrestor wires, with 7 arrestor wires, and they're pneumatically, you know what pneumatic is? Air pressure. When the hook got onto the pneumatic, the planes would land and the hook would hook onto them and it would stop them from crashing, you know. So we had a lot of planes then. I forgot what I was going to say then. What was I on about?
They went overboard, didn't they?
Oh, quite a few.
Friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said you had a friend.
oh yeah. A friend, he went over. Pilot crashed, and my friend went over to help him, and it blew up. And the friend went with it, you know. Oh, horrible. Yeah, some horrible things happened during the war. A lot of brave people in the war, wasn't there?
What were they like?
Pardon?
What were they like?
What were your friends like?
The friend, his name was Witherspoon, and he was Scottish, and he was a lovely fellow really. Him and I were very, very close mates, and it really broke my heart when he got killed, you know. David Witherspoon, yeah. It's a Scotch name, that, isn't it, Witherspoon? WOTHERSPOON, Witherspoon. You've never heard that name, have you, before? David Witherspoon. Yeah.
Did you think you ever knew if you were winning or losing at times?
What was that? Did I think? Say it again.
Did you think you ever knew if you were losing or winning at times?
Well, secrets were very well kept during the war, and you could never know what was happening at home, And letters, if someone sent you a letter, the letter would be examined and written, and if there's anything in that letter that they didn't like, they used to cut it out. So you couldn't pass information on to anyone. So it was a secrecy to keep the enemy not knowing what was going on in different parts of the country. You know, you can understand it like what is
So
it called?
you had no idea whether the the Allies were winning or whether.
No, we had no idea
you
what
know,
was happening.
No, you just
It
hoped.
was all secret. You didn't know whether you're winning or losing or what was happening. But just you knew that they were bombing you, and
Yeah.
you knew you were bombing them. Yes, yeah. You see, that was the horrible thing about going to war. You were going to war, and your relatives at home were being bombed by the Germans. And that's horrible to think, you know. And you think,
Did you get seasick?
Do you know, it's funny that, but never been seasick in my life. And the captain of our ship got seasick every time we went to sea. He did. But I've been a good stomach. I've never been seasick.
No.
We had quite a few that used to get seasick.
Twilight cruising holidays.
But our skipper used to get seasick every time we went to sea. That's true. I've never been seasick, thank goodness for that. I had a wonderful stomach, yeah.
How did you feel when you heard the war was over? And
How did I think when the war was over?
How did you feel?
Oh, I much couldn't believe it really. And, but we weren't coming home for a long while after that, because what we had to do was, we had an awful lot of prisoners of war and that in different places, Singapore and all that, and our job was to be compassionate, and what we did, we got rid of all our guns and everything and made room to bring a lot of people, sick people home from, the ship became a hospital ship.
You got rid of all your aircraft, didn't you? Ditched
ditched
all
all
the
our
aircraft
aircraft
off
and everything.
Australia and off
And
Sydney.
became a hospital ship to bring all the sick people home and injured people home, yeah. Which you can understand really, can't you? You want to do the best for them.
how old was you when the war had finished?
How old was I when the war had finished? How old was I?
22. 22.
22. I was 18 when I went in, wasn't I? 18 when I went in, 22. So just think of all the men that got killed. They were all young men, weren't they? All in their 20s, 18 to 20.
Did you come out of the Navy?
Pardon?
Did you come out of the Navy?
Did I come out of the Navy? When the war finished, we were out there, and as I said, we were a long while getting guns and that off the ship to bring sick people back and bring people back what had been injured and all that, to bring them back home. So we came back home. It took a long while before we got home. Yeah, it took a long while.
Was everyone happy when you came home?
Pardon?
Was everyone happy when you came home?
Oh yeah, they were delighted. It was lovely to get home, but yeah, you had a lot of sad memories, of course, but it was so delighted for the war to be over, you know.
Do you have lots of medals?
Here's his medals.
Would you like to know what they are?
Yeah.
I'll show you. The one on the right.
Yeah, do you want them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just pull them out.
Yeah. That's in the middle because it keeps flowing.
Yeah, forgot about that, yeah.
Hooped it under there.
one is commonly known as the War Medal, the 3945 War Medal. And that is known as the Defence of Great Britain Medal. This one is the Burma Star Medal, and the reason for that bar is the Pacific. I qualified for the Pacific Medal as well, but you only wear the medal that you earn first. So I earned the Burma Star first in the Indian Ocean, and then the Pacific is the bar. And that's the Atlantic Medal, and that's the 3945 Star. And that's my medals. There you go.
Which is the best?
Eh?
Which is the best?
Oh, well, you couldn't really answer that question, but the one you could be proudest of would probably be the Burma Star, you know. And the Atlantic, but they're all very good medals. Everybody who served got that one, the Defence of Great Britain, and everybody who served got the 3945 Star. But the Burma Star is one with the most prestige, I think. And between the Burma and the Pacific, whichever one you earned first, you wore. So I was in the Indian Ocean and I got the Burma Star, and then went Pacific afterwards. Before that, of course, I was in the Atlantic, and then the 3945 Star. Yeah.
Are some of your Navy friends still alive?
Well, we had an association called the Indomitable Association, and we used to meet up every year, didn't we? But unfortunately there's only one or two of us left now, so they've all died, you know, so there is no more an Indomitable Association. Yeah, but we used to meet up once a year. Used to have occasional dance and things, didn't we?
They did. We've been to 2 funerals this
They're all
week.
gone now,